Hi, we're getting curious today about electricity and air travel, sort of. So the question is, what if electricity could travel through the air? You know all about Wi-Fi and how great it is that you can access the internet without wires, but at the end of the day, you still have to plug your devices into a wall socket to give them the juice to work wirelessly. What if you could power up anywhere, even where there are no walls? This isn't a new thought, believe it or not. Since the dawn of electricity, people have been frustrated by wires. In fact, one of the great pioneers in electricity, Nikola Tesla, had a vision of free wireless electricity for the entire world. Over 100 years ago, did you catch that? So not only did he have a vision for wireless electricity, not just for one place or one city, but the entire world, over 100 years ago. At the beginning of the 20th century, Tesla started building the Wardenclyffe Tower, also known as the Tesla Tower. I encourage you to look it up. It's a very strange looking building that would have provided electricity to cities, buildings, and homes wirelessly and inexpensively. But the cost of finishing the tower became too much. Construction stopped, Tesla had a nervous breakdown, and we've used wires to transmit electricity for more than 100 years. Even though we may have missed our chance to have wireless electricity over 100 years ago, scientists and inventors are hard at work making it a reality in the near future. There's a very good chance you'll be using 100% wireless devices before you know it. Now, it's really kind of crazy when you think about this, that something was invented, or at least started to be invented over 100 years ago. And when the inventor died or stopped working on it, all of the knowledge and the ability to do it was lost. So we as scientists today, not just trying to discover something, but really trying to rediscover something from over 100 years ago. So it's fascinating that a lot of times we think of scientists and innovators as only trying to pull something from the future and bring it back to today. But what if some scientists are actually looking at the past and trying to bring that past back to today? So an activity you can do, if you're a little more curious about wireless activity or the history of electricity or the history of invention and innovation or even the future, we have an activity called wireless history. But what if we did have wireless technology for the past century? Think about that. What if we did have electricity that was wireless for the past 100 plus years? How would this have affected other technological developments? Imagine if people could have had power wherever they went. Do you think things like computers and the internet may have been developed years, if not decades earlier? What if your great-grandparents had grown up with smartphones? What kinds of devices do you think you'd have today? Write an alternative history, a short description of what the world could have been like. You can even draw some of the things that you would have by now and think about how would the world be different. So for this activity, you can draw it out or you can write it out, imagining a world if wireless electricity had been invented over 100 years ago. Now, again, something to keep in mind while you're doing this is the cumulative effect of this, right? Imagine if your grandparents or your great-grandparents had wireless electricity. How would that have changed the development of other products, technologies? It may mean that your great-grandparents may have had the internet. And if they had the internet, what kinds of stuff would you have today? So I'd be really curious to see what your curiosity and imagination comes up with on this question of what if electricity could travel through the air. But just as importantly, what if Tesla had been successful and we've been using wireless electricity for the past century plus? Now, if you want to go even deeper into this idea of wireless power, we have a technical corner with some more information about electricity. So wireless power works by sending out what are called electromagnetic waves. These waves have electrical and magnetic components that work together. In fact, there are a whole bunch of these kinds of waves you might already know about. We have radio waves, waves that carry the signals from radio stations, microwaves, the waves inside of your microwave oven, infrared waves, the waves that heat gives off, All the light you see, visible light waves, ultraviolet waves, the ones that give you a sunburn, and X-rays, the waves that doctors use to see your broken bones. Each of these waves carries energy, even if you can't see it. When one of these waves matches the pattern of something else, its energy can transfer. For example, microwaves move in a way that resonates with water. Food heats up in your microwave because the energy from the waves it sends out gets picked up by the water in your food. The waves make the molecules in the water move more, which is what heat is. But your microwave can't pick up radio signals because it doesn't match that pattern. Just like your radio can't heat your food, although that would be pretty fun, right? But if you have a radio, it can pick up radio waves. So whether you like it or not, we got these waves going all over. Some we can see like light waves, and others just pass through the things that they can't get picked up, like radio waves and microwaves, but they connect where there's a connection. There are a few ways to send power wirelessly. One is by using simple induction. What's induction? Imagine you're standing close to two friends. Jane is on your right and Joe is on your left. Joe pushes you toward Jane, then Jane pushes you toward Joe. This keeps happening and you keep moving left and right, left and right. That's induction. That's getting pushed back and forth, back and forth. Jane and Joe are using the energy in their arms to move you. You pick up the energy when you move. If you had two wires that were close to each other, you could send power to one by continuously switching the direction of electricity in the other. So a fun activity to do here with induction and electricity and the idea of energy is think about what if instead of induction between electricity like this, what if this example of Jane and Joe of pushing you back and forth to create energy were real? One, what kind of energy would you like to create? Would you like to create energy that powers a cell phone or your microwave? Or would you like to create an energy that makes some other sort of change or powers some other kind of idea you have? And then the other question is, who would be the two people that you would want next to you or that would give you the energy you need to push you back and forth, not just to keep you moving, but to make sure that this energy is as powerful and effective as possible? Really curious to see what you come up with if you created your own induction energy machine, who you would have, what energy you would create. As always, keep healthy and stay curious.